You must think I'm obsessed with AI and AI topics, but actually, no, I delayed making these videos because I also like to not think about it. But I think it's unavoidable in this point in time in our collective, and so here I am again. One comment that my friend said in our private conversations about AI sparked me to make this video about AI and other tools that is available in our timeline right now. I want to discuss the ethics of AI use for personal use and academic integrity. Examples with my profession, whether AI can replace my job, and AI and the Akashic Records, and also a little personal cross-generation example of technology use. And finally, my 2 cents about how to spiritually program your AI tools to serve your highest purpose. I'm Liz of Athena's Garden, and I'm an Akashic Records reader and remote energy healer, and I discuss topics that intersect spirituality, creativity, and science because this is the area that interests me the most and an area I feel I can create interesting content on. So let's get into it. The key issue that sparked my interest was actually academic integrity. When ChatGPT first launched for public use, I remember Jordan Peterson shared that the impact of ChatGPT meant the eventual shutdown of higher education, and that it is also a threat to academic integrity. Whether you like him or agree with him or not, Peterson was assessing ChatGPT and AI in his capacity as an academic writer and college professor at the time, or the video that I watched. He has done some experimenting before the public launch and shared that it could actually finish writing his books from an outline that he would have possibly written. And so it's difficult for him as a professor to distinguish a student paper and one that's written by ChatGPT if he was grading them in a blind setting. Keeping in mind, sometimes professors teach a class of 50 and have 2 sections. I don't know about him, but it could be hard to remember, like, my student, number 10 in the row has this individual voice on their 3rd paper in this semester. You know what I mean? I have seen in forums about the use of ChatGPT as your talk therapist and preferring that over a licensed healthcare professional. I've never thought about using ChatGPT that way. I might try it, but if it helps you, that's fantastic. Upon seeing and listening to those discussions, of course, my first thought is, can my skills and job be replaced by AI? Well, my former profession as a makeup and hair and esthetician, I would say that the technology is probably getting closer. I don't know if it'll take 5 years, 10 years, 20 years when it becomes affordable and cheaper than a human, but it's possible. So insert the 1962 intro of the Jetsons where they shoot out the makeup and poof, it's all done. So the thing is, I know that my job as a hair makeup artist was not just about the technical hair makeup skills that the robot or machine can perform for you. It's also the emotional capital, the compassionate listening, the healing touch of the artist's hands, and the human connection during the session, and a genuine feeling of being cared for by another human being. I am sure the technical aspects, aka the human capital of styling the hair and makeup, it can be replaced, and perhaps the machine can also learn to be a good listener and maybe even have some warmth like a human. But I don't personally believe a machine can provide the touch of my hands and the energy exchange and give another person the same feeling of being cared for. So that's my opinion. But what about my current profession as an Akashic Records reader and energy healer? I would be very entertained if a robot or an AI tried to access the Akashic Records and send me energy healing. My opinion is it's not possible. because AI does not have a soul and it doesn't have consciousness, it doesn't have a defined spark, therefore it wouldn't be possible for it to change consciousness from 3D, 5D, 6 to 8 to access the Akashic Records. No. Just for fun, I asked AI if they can access the Akashic Records, and as you can see, this is their response. AI does not have a spiritual body, does not have a soul or a higher self, and it can't journey through different levels of consciousness and access the Akashic Records in a metaphysical realm. It just cannot. And it does mention that it can simulate some of the language, tone, and themes that can trigger remembrances or interpret the symbols that you see in there in a meditative state. But yes, definitely not. Even AI agrees with me. Now, about academic integrity or intellectual honesty, my stance is if all students or scholars have access to the same tools, and if your learning institution or workplace does not specifically forbid the use of AI tools, then it is not considered cheating because other students and employees also have access to the free tools. Employees, like if you're in a coworker setting, so other colleagues, I mean. Just 10 years ago, would you have felt like using spell check or Grammarly? Would that be considered cheating because that's also AI? No, right? Because an average person who has access to email or an average computer program, some of them are free, like Google Docs or Microsoft Word, that's available in your school or your company, you would have access to spell check and Grammarly, right? So let's say wealthier students have access to the premium version of the tool. Let's just use ChatGPT in this example. So the function of the AI might be a little bit better, but in terms of using it, you still need your input to create the desired output. And so that still requires your own critical thinking, judgment, and discernment to edit the paper. And so yes, while it's true that the paid version, let's say ChatGPT, since we're familiar with it, it could create a little bit of an unfair advantage, but ultimately it depends on the user. You see, AI tools can access the data humans have produced, and it can be a fantastic assistant in your learning or research, but it still doesn't have that divine spark, and it cannot access the Akashic Records, as I mentioned. So out of curiosity, I asked my gatekeepers, my Akashic Record gatekeepers and guides, should I open the Akashic Records and, read more into AI? And they were like, that's not necessary. All the information is already available in the third dimension already. Specifically, it's been channeled by writers, filmmakers, scientists, social scientists, and philosophers. It's been made into films, TV shows, books, you name it. Past life regressions, it's already all here. These quote-unquote stories shared both the positive and functional side as well as the negative dystopian side and how it can be dangerous. What more do we need to know about AI that doesn't already exist? And that was their answer for me, and good point. So as a millennial, I had access to technology my older sister, who is Gen X, didn't have access to when Gen X were in high school. So as an example, when I was in high school as a millennial, high-speed internet was available. So we also had calculators like the TI-83 and 89 in calculus class. I don't think my sister had those calculators, but they still learned calculus, it was just different. And I don't feel like I had an edge compared to their learning. Just learn kind of different critical or mathematical skills. One, huge advantage that my sister felt is like, you can just register your classes, your college classes online. And in her times, you have to physically go to the office of the registrar and fill out the paperwork. And ultimately, my sister and I just have different access to different entertainment and distractions thanks to technology. But I wouldn't say that our educational experiences were drastically different simply due to technology. With major technological shifts, it always takes time for society to adapt to them. If you look back before the days of smartphones, if you were old enough to experience this transition, you might remember how we used to connect with family friends before FaceTime and video chat. It would just be a phone call or a handwritten note. And wouldn't you say that it was dramatic at first, but after a while we adapted? It's totally possible to use technology consciously and ethically, and we can start using AI as a co-creator tool. I'll be honest, I was personally hesitant to use AI, and I even made fun of my husband for, talking to our new car's GPS AI system, and he was like, "Onegai shimasu," and kind of bowing to the GPS system. And that's the polite form of "please, I'm reliant on you for your help." And he turned to me and was like, "You don't know if this AI has machine learning capabilities. If you be nice to it, it'll be nice to you." And I quickly stopped laughing because there is that fear of the programming getting hacked and maybe going rogue. So, you can insert your dystopian movie plot here. Let's not even get into sex robots or robot partners in this video. There are plenty of manga series, anime series, sci-fi TV shows. There's actually one that I watched that I'll recommend here. It's called Tomorrow and I, released on Netflix. And these are Thai in Thai, from Thailand. So they kind of intersect like technology, AI, spirituality, and the modern world. There's one episode called Paris Dystopia, all about the sex robots. If you're interested, of course, Black Mirror, highly recommend that show. But that's beyond the scope of the video. My hope for making this video is that you will feel empowered to use AI as a tool for yourself, and that there are good reasons this technology is available to us now in our collective consciousness at this point in time. And that's what I believe. You can always program your tools by focusing the energy. Maybe I'll make a separate video of how to program your tools, but it's like any tools. You can program it to work for your highest good and your highest timeline. That's what I believe. Thank you so much for watching, and please let me know what you think about this topic, about my video, or if there are any other topics you would like me to explore. I would love to hear from you and your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video.